Hi. So your girl decided to do a writing vlog, and I'm not gonna read you anything from my first draft. Not at all. Not even a little bit. I won't even give you a taste. Absolutely fuck not. The first draft just needs to exist, and it is trash. Horrible. Bad. Wouldn't even I, as the person who wrote it, can barely read it. So we're gonna read you my 1.5 draft. Yeah. Which is my 1.5 draft is my first draft being translated to digital. And why I call it a 1.5 draft is because I have to fix it when I transfer it over. I tried just doing exactly what I wrote on here and I just couldn't fucking do it. So, first draft is in the red notebook. Draft and a half is in here. Yeah. I hope I'm not being too loud. I keep hearing like knocking and it could just be the tree that's next to here. But I'm in the basement. I don't know. How's that? I'm gonna only read you chapter one, and it's gonna be in my shitty reading voice because I can't read out loud well. But doing my it's probably from upstairs, duh. But anyway, doing my best with my novel attempt number 6, draft 1.5. I'm just nervous and I don't want to do it, but I'm gonna do it, and we're gonna see what happens. Anyway, don't forget to complete your worksheets over the weekend. We're only 3 days of 100% homework away from a pizza party, the Ebony teacher says. Naomi was brimming with excitement for her students. She loved the anticipation that hummed throughout the classroom at their soon-to-be-earned reward. Her colorful dress and accessories swished about as she zipped around the room, making sure all her students were ready to leave. Once everyone was prepped to go, she lines, not likes, lines. This is why you reread over your work, guys. She lines them up and marches her brood to the schoolyard. Once the last of her students were safely on their way home, Naomi heads back to her classroom. The smile that's been stamped onto her face is thus. Not this, thus. There you go. The smile that has been stamped onto her face thus far falters. She always hated the end of the day. All the excitement and laughter that came with having students present replaced with lonely silence. Sorry. Can you let me fix this, please? Another reason why I don't read my work out loud is because I have to fix whatever I see when I see it. I can't leave it for later. It has to be done now. So that's why I always stay in the draft phase. Anyway, back to this. She always hated the end of the day. All the excitement and laughter that came from having students present replaced with lonely silence. The dark-skinned teacher used her fingers to push back up her fallen smile. She was still in the school building at least. No need to sorrow just yet. She takes her time cleaning the room from the day's activities. Still finishing faster than she would have liked, she decides to go over her students' work from the day. Time moved too quickly, and she was done before she knew it. Unable to stall anymore, she closes up her classroom and goes home. Naomi's apartment was filled with color. Art prints and children's drawings from years of collecting covered the walls. Not one thrifted furniture piece matched another. Yet somehow the apartment still felt cold and clinical to its soul's inhabitant. taking the S away from you. Boom. Thank you. I wasn't kidding when I said I have to fix it. Um, Not even taking her bag and shoes. The off. Not even taking her bags and shoes off. The school teacher goes to her kitchen. She frantically looks through every drawer and cabinet, hoping that something will be missing and she'll have to go to the store. Anything to stave off the impending feeling of emptiness that keeps her locked to her bed whenever she was home. Finding everything fully, finding everything fully stocked, she drops her bag on the kitchen floor and takes off her shoes. She walks numbly to her room and collapses onto her bed. The next time she is conscious, it was suddenly late Saturday evening. She reaches an arm out of the cocoon of blankets she somehow became wrapped in as she slept. When her phone didn't make its way to her hand, she begrudgingly gets up to properly look for it. Not finding, with a G, not an F, not finding the device in her room, she heads back to the kitchen where she sees her bag. She grabs the offensive thing, then rummages through it until she found her phone. She drops it on the floor again, ignoring the contents that spilled out next to it, then returns to her room. Once back Once back in her cocoon, she checks her notifications. There were 57 of them. The majority came from the wellness app she donated. Well, that makes no sense. Used? Okay. The majority came from the wellness app she used. Reminders to eat and go outside were quickly swiped away. That left her reminders for the upcoming week and one text message. She leaves to schedule reminders to focus on the text message. Big Bear reporting to Little Bear. Are you okay? Naomi stares at it for a while before responding. Alive. Deciding she'd done more than enough to warrant going back to sleep, she tosses her phone onto her dresser, then goes back to sleep. And that's chapter 1 of Draft and a Half. Some things that I'm working on, aside from the actual story itself, I'm on chapter 6, 7. On the written version, I've only just transferred over one chapter so far. Some things I need to get figured out is the relationship between the person that she texted and her. Because in the original version of the story, because this is the 6th version, I have others. There was this character that was there. Their name was Matthews, Sheriff Matthews, and they were like the parental figure for the main lead. As her name, every attempt, her name changes. Like, every time she changes as a character, the name of the character changes. Like, she's been through 3 different iterations. But, yeah, no. It was a sheriff named Matthews, Sheriff Matthews, that was very parental. Like, she had a cup of pens that they just had in their office for the main character since they were a kid, with like glitter pens, crayons, color pencils, just in there so that they would stop stealing their pens out of their like breast pocket to draw with when they were sit in their office as a kid, because their parents were shit. Yeah. So that's what I'm like, that's what I was calling back to when I included the text message. And I do want her to have at least one person who she interacts with that isn't the, antagonist. Because in this particular story, there will not be a lot of characters. There's only 2 you gotta care about, and 2.5 really, because the main character is the only one who actually matters. But I still wanted to add other characters, even if you could read the whole story without them. so far, at least. Like right now, it really is just a one girl show. It's a one woman army right now. But I do want to add other characters, and I just don't know how to yet. But we'll figure it out. So I'm figuring out how to add. Well, one, if and how I'm going to include this Matthews character back in, because I love them so much and I just want them there. I don't care if it's just a cameo. I love them and I want them there. Um, Two, how to add more characters in general to the story, because I'm okay with it being a one woman show. I don't know if publishers will be okay with it being a one woman show. I don't know if I'll just not go through a publisher at all and self publish, which is looking like what I'm probably going to end up doing, as I don't know how to describe this story yet. It's not done, but it's not looking like it's going to be a clear cut genre to go into. And I know I kind of need that to go to a publisher with. Like, I don't have, this isn't going to be like, oh, it's like this. I won't really have that. It's based off a role play I did in middle school. Like, I won't really have a, say, something that it's like sort of a deal. I'm working on that as well, though. Like, I'm reading a few more. I got some suggestions on Instagram, and I'll take some suggestions here as well for like thriller, suspense, horror type stories. I don't think that's the direction this is gonna end up going, but just in case, I want to like read some more of those, as that's where this originally was gonna go, and I don't have a lot of experience with that genre in terms of long form. I have a lot of I read a lot of horror short stories, like thriller suspense short stories. I write a lot of short stories as horror, thriller, and suspense. In fact, I'm hoping to publish a little book with this that is like the stories you make along the way, or something like that, or it's just a collection of short stories I've written. Working on that along with this, because some of those attempts that made it up to the 6 ended up just being short stories. So, yeah. So there's that. There's the adding more characters, bringing in my fan favorite Matthews, and my fan favorite, I mean my favorite. There is also the nature of the entity that'll be the basically second main character here. I just know that they were around the main character when they were a kid. They are very territorial when it comes to their favorite humans, and guess who's a favorite human? And that they're coming back, they want to come back into Naomi. This iteration of the main character is called Naomi. Her name's Naomi. Want to be back into Naomi's life, and is doing so through things that as a kid wasn't all that healthy. As an adult who's trying to get better with her mental health, is even worse. Like isolating, maladaptive daydreaming, all those things, like all the fun coping skills that you shouldn't really rely on, because it's not denying your reality is not a healthy way to live. And that's kind of trying to figure out, and that's what I know of the embodiments of this other character, and that their name is Puck. Also that their name is Puck, because their name was Puck in the original roleplay, and I want to keep that. So, which is funny, because I had a friend in high school whose name was also Puck for a little bit. But yeah. So that recapping again, because I am a simpleton. Adding more characters, adding my favorite character, fleshing out Puck, and kind of like deciding how I want, like I already know how I want it to sound, sort of a deal, like my style, my writing style, figuring that out as well, because that does change depending on what I'm reading. And I'm trying to read a lot more books, because I miss reading. physical books. Like, I still read. I read a lot. Fan fiction is magic. Web novels are my life. Kindle and Amazon books be doing it. But I have physical books that I want to read, so I'm trying to read more physical books. And the physical books are what really affects my writing style, because I don't know why, but it does. So yeah, that's where I'm at there. I'm also tempted to like go back through my old Wattpad stories because I saved them to my Google Drive, and seeing what I can pull to write there as well, because I'm very tempted to write multiple stories at once, even though I know that's a bad idea for me. But I have so many ideas and I want to write them down. So I think what I'm going to do is have a notebook for each of these ideas instead, which I already started to do, because this one is my notebook for this story, but this one is the notebook for a different story that I thought of while I was at work during a lull period, where it's essentially about a immortal-esque being running a coffee shop and just as the time progresses, just going through time leisurely. And how that goes. Like, it's not supposed to, like, how I'm imagining this book, the book with the lovely immortal, is not so much of a book that you read for an adventure. It's more so a in-betweener book. You want to calm down in between reading something heavy or crazy or whatever the fuck, and you just read it. Like, it's a nothing book, kind of, sort of like this web novel that I'm reading, where it's not like nothing's really happening too crazy at all. It's just a gentle cadence through the book, sort of a scenario. And yes, I did get that idea because I am reading Frieren at Journey's End, and the idea of having an immortal working in a coffee shop or a tavern or a bar like in D&D and just having people, it's just like watching as people come in and out of their lives and how they interact with that over the centuries is just something that I want to do. I kind of want to do that, even if it doesn't end up being, it might be, but even if it doesn't end up being like a finished concept and published, it's nice something to like chill write, which will hopefully be a chill read. Is this basically fan fiction that I'm writing as a book? Yes. But you know what? It'll be good fan fiction written as a book, unlike the bullshit that we've been getting nowadays. So yeah, that's my writing vlog. Basically things that I'm working on, and my first chapter of my book. My first chapter of attempt 6 was probably not how the final is gonna look, but it is an attempt. And it's attempt 6. And it's draft 1.5. And I'm very proud of it. So that's what matters. So yeah, that's it. I'm gonna heat up my dim sum because, I pronounced that horribly and I'm so sorry. I'm not good at pronunciation. I can barely pronounce English words. But like I'm gonna go, heat up my dim sum and watch YouTube until I fall asleep. Later. Also, this makes me feel very cool, which tells me I need to invest in more beanies, because this is just a bonnet. This is a bonnet that I just have behind my bangs. But yeah. That's it. That's the tweet. That's the video. Thanks. Pose for thumbnail. Bye.